Hi, this is Gil Still, and this is my assignment for Module 4, Supporting Appropriate Adult Relationships, EDL 952. So first, talking about appropriate adult relationships. So there are several examples of different things that we can discuss. What we would want to see when we're in buildings, when we're in classrooms, or when we're in the district. So we want to make sure that we see adults and encouraging, supporting students. So that could be academically, socially, emotionally, behaviorally, expressing that they care. So having deep conversations with students, asking them how their day is, working with them one on one in small groups, and always doing so with the intentionality of doing what's best for them to help them make them feel successful in school. We also want to be challenging growth and sharing that power. So we want to make sure that we give ownership of the education to the kids, but we also want to make sure that we're providing strategies and highly effective practices and allowing them to do project-based things or things in higher order thinking, and not just for those kids that uh, maybe school becomes easier for them, but for everyone. Everyone is capable of doing that, but us being able to provide those strategies for them. We also want to be able to increase the level of motivation, so making school fun for them by using those engaging practices. Working once again in groups, individually or small groups. So we want to make sure that we're doing tier 1 instruction, but then also meeting their needs in the tier 2 or tier 3. Once again, whether it's socially, emotionally, behaviorally, or academically, just having those conversations and being able to help kids out. So then social activity around a student's goal. So we want to be able to look at individual students and help them come up with what they want to achieve, both short term and long term. And it could be behaviorally, academically, or any way. And being able to have those conversations daily, weekly, and having those conversations with families as well. Interacting with them consistently and repeatedly, promoting learning, helping them feel comfortable answering questions in class, whether it's in front of everybody or just one-on-one. Um, helping them have faith in the resources, helping them understand how to use those resources, and having them have faith in the teacher. And that comes by building those strong relationships. And that becomes with teachers talking to them constantly and doing all those different things that are going to help do that. We want to make sure that teachers and students are able to receive constructive guidance and praise, so that it's not just one way, that it's reciprocal, that it can be both ways, to where everyone feels empowered in the classroom. And overall, we want it to be positive, consistent, and based on trust and mutual respect. That's the only way that students are truly going to feel comfortable in the classroom and be able to learn. Talking about negative and inappropriate adult relationships. So looking at the picture on the slide, that's of a teacher yelling at a student, pointing out at a student. So that's an example of something that we don't want going on in our district, our buildings, or our schools. And helping the mindset of teachers of having the questions of, aren't there other students worthy of my time? Shouldn't I be focusing on students who are college bound? Helping reframe that mindset that every student is worthy of their time, and that all students, whether it's college bound or whatever they decide to do after high school, they each have a goal, and that's our job to help each of them. Another example of negative and inappropriate adult relationships, there's evidence of the frustration, irritability, and anger towards the student, which you can see in the picture in the slide. We also want to make sure that there are no snide or sarcastic comments towards the student. Sometimes as adults, we can think something is funny as being sarcastic, but it's the perception that students could take from it, and it could really knock a student down if we do that. Teachers having those peer interactions with other teachers or other adults or staff, it's having the conversation of, this is the student as the one who exhausts them, or the student who leaves them feeling drained or burned out. We want to get away from having those types of interactions with peers as well, and looking at goals. More examples is yelling, harsh punitive control. Communication is disrespectful. Students, their perception is they don't feel the teacher is caring. And the classroom is not a well-structured learning environment. So if there isn't management there going, all these other negative, inappropriate interactions could be occurring. So these are things that we want to stay away from and get better at. So methods of integration. So things that we want to look at that are evidence-based on how we can naturally put them into our classroom to where it's not one more thing on our plate. It's something that's going to help us and help our students be successful in the classroom. So within the picture, that's of a principal meeting with the student, doing a check-in, just having growth-related conversations with them and giving them behavior-specific praise. It could be daily, it could be weekly, and following up with it, not just doing it for a little while and then letting that student go and forgetting about them. Intentionally adding team building activities into lesson plans. So it could be related to curriculum, it could not be related to curriculum. Just doing things that to where they're going to have the collaboration and conversations is a great way to integrate it into your classroom. All about me presentation. So at the beginning of the school year, and as throughout the school year as it goes, having some type of presentation on Google, virtually, a bulletin board, and also having students do that as well. So that way the family environment can be built within the classroom and the school. Having one-on-one 5-minute conferences. So just having conversations with students. Simple things like greeting them at the door and not just standing there, but also having conversations with them, giving them a high five, whatever it is that students and teachers feel comfortable with. Social and emotional learning programs. So making sure that we're hitting on all those different aspects, such as self-regulation, assertiveness, conflict management, all those different things, providing that as a resource so they know how to handle things when they come up within the classroom. Doing a 2x10 relationship building intervention. So intentionally choosing students to have those conversations with and getting to know them so they feel like they have an adult that they can talk to, and someone they can go to when things are hard and aren't always easy. Looking more at restorative practices. So teaching the student, reteaching the student on what correct behavior looks like and what negative behavior looks like. So the do's and do nots, and helping them grow and be better, and that it doesn't always have to be punitive, and that restorative is going to actually help them learn and change their behavior. And then having the power of the voice of students, including them in conversations on what the classroom rules are or what type of classroom management you're going to use, team building activities, anything like that. And then just using praise and reward to provide positive experiences and not just good job, but telling them what they did a good job and why it was important that they did it and just the impact that it's making on them and their classmates and the teacher. So learning opportunities, things that we can do for the staff to help them get on board and be able to intentionally impact all of our students is we need to make sure we have professional development organized. So looking at dates throughout the school year on how we can provide opportunities on 2x10s, looking at behavior matrices, talking about restorative practice, embedding that, and then having follow-up professional development. Also making sure there is time and flexibility in the school for teachers to establish positive relationships with students. So talking about how we can do that with restorative practices and maybe having Google Forms, writing CACHAs, positive referrals for students, making positive phone calls at home and having those positive interactions in the classroom as well. And then allowing planning time, intentional planning time for themselves and with their colleagues so that they can look at how they can integrate some of those things within their classrooms and it naturally flow. And that way, if they're not sure how to do it, they have other adult peers that can help them out and they can share ideas to collaborate. Potential roadblocks or consequences that we could have. Negative psychological impacts include discomfort, insecurity, insignificant feelings, sadness, resentment, frustration, and stress. A tense environment, if we're not able to look at the positive things that we want to embed, that's how it may feel for both teachers and students. Weakened cooperation. So once again, in the classroom or with the peers, if there's a lot of negative going on, that's what we're going to revert to instead of working towards the positive. Communication failures, having that open communication line and it be two-way communication lines with adults and students. Then potential consequences, poor performance, both behaviorally, social, emotionally, and academically. Um, Research shows that having the positives is going to help students out with their academic success because they're going to feel like a family environment and that they really truly belong to something. And then it could also lead to an undisciplined environment and overall a decrease in education quality if we're not looking at these roadblocks or consequences. So overall, as a district, we need to look at all of the positive interactions on how adults should interact with students and think about also the negatives, the roadblocks in integration, and be able to have these open conversations and come up with a plan on how we can better improve things going on and also celebrate the successes and wins that we have already. And then these last 3 slides are just my references. Thank you.